Hello everyone, welcome back to another Friday and another casual champion review. Today we're taking a look at the Fish Freak, who I can't say the F word because I'm too soon into the video, but I hate this guy. And it's going to be a bit of a weird one. I think I've done this maybe once or twice before, but the audio you're hearing right now of me talking is not the same audio I had while recording this game. And that's mainly because this gameplay was only like 15 minutes long, so I'm trying to re-record it to be a bit more concise about the points I was trying to make. And to be honest, there wasn't a lot to say about Fizz, so this video's not going to be too long anyway. You know, it is cool though, fan art section, there's not a lot this time, and in fact only half of them are just the art of the champion, which is fine. It started originally as me as the champions, and that, as well as just art total in general, has lessened as the series gone on, which I can't really be sad about it. I should just be grateful that it's happening at all. But I included the ones that Public has been doing because they've still been doing that a bunch of the background. Regardless, for the few fellas who still take part in this challenge thing, thank you. It means the world to me. You guys are amazing. All right, this will be kind of nice. I can actually sit back and relax. I don't have to worry about farming while I'm talking. I don't have to worry about stuttering while there's fights happening or re-recording things. It's going to be easy to re-record things, in fact, so this should be good. So, and I can look directly at my notes here without getting distracted by the gameplay. So, Fizz's lore, very simple, very easy. It's been retconned a couple times, but the modern instance of Fizz's lore is that he's a Yordle who lived in an ancient oceanic city so many thousands or millennia ago, whatever it is, and he lived alongside its citizens. Citizens, they weren't fellow Yordles like him, they were just people that existed in that underwater kingdom. So there are more Yordles like him, as we saw with the Legend of Runeterra introduced the Shark-Tooth Trainer. So there are more of him, but they didn't live, or he didn't live alongside them. But connections are growing wary among the underwater cities, and so Fizz is sent out to go investigate. Unfortunately, while he is out investigating, the city that he was a part of before was attacked by vicious gigalodons. That's what they're actually called, like megalodons, but one tier bigger, I guess. Is there like miniolodons, like for the smaller ones? I don't know. It's just fucking stupid, man. So Fizz returns to find the gigalodons that attacked and killed everyone. Every single person in this underwater city is now dead. He is the last person to remain. And in his sadness, he falls into a catatonic state. He's too depressed to move, and he just lets the current take him wherever it be. And he floats around this way for millennia, till one day he's awoken by a bunch of coins falling through the sea and landing on top of his head. And that wakes him up. I'm surprised that woke him up and not like some crazy tidal storm or any other animal that would probably see a floating, what they assume would be a corpse, and just try and pick it up and eat him. But he follows the coins all the way up to the surface and peers above the water for the first time and finds out he can actually breathe it. And he sees a bunch of how he describes as wooden fish, which are just ships, which I don't even know how he know what wood is. He's underwater, but whatever. And he follows these wooden ships back to Bilgewater, and he just decides to hang out there for a while. He becomes a bit of a folk legend over time, the tidal trickster. It's kind of a neat thing to include, like, you know, Warwick is the uncaged Wrath of Zon. It's a nice way to include their champion's alias as a part of their lore. He's a folk tale to scare children, like, oh, don't be naughty or the tidal trickster will feed you to the fishes. And I mean, Fizz was a trickster before. Oh yeah, this was cool. This was an awesome moment in the game. I love when Briarmanes exist. He was still a bit of a trickster while he was in his old city, but now he's even more so. He's constantly playing pranks and punishing what he deems naughty people. But I don't know, a lot of his tricks lead to severe injury and death. Like, he will trick a fleet of ships from, oh, I'm gonna take you to a place where you can get a nice haul of fish and fill your nets. Actually, it's a ship graveyard. Goodbye, you're dead. And that's all that Fizz is left with these days. He's just some weird, playful trickster in Bilgewater. Although, Legend of Runeterra showed that he does go back to Bilgewater on occasion to play tricks on people there. Regardless, he's just a weird trickster who likes playing pranks on people. So for his design, I can't zoom. Maybe I do like a manual zoom in on the model here. For his design, why is he a Yordle? I don't get it. I mean, he wasn't originally. Originally, he was some random amphibious sea creature, but then over time, Riot decided to retcon him into a Yordle. A lot like they're trying to do with a Moo, actually. But it's kind of living proof that these retcons Riot does don't always work, because as a Yordle, Fizz doesn't make any sense. Nothing is added to benefit his story from making him a Yordle. It just makes the design more confusing because nothing about him, besides his little stumpy proportions, make him look like a Yordle at all. There's none of the key features that Yordles have. I guess you could backwards way say that like the tendril hair is mimicking the ears, but really does not look like that in game at all. It's not to say he's like horribly designed. He looks like a shit-eating goblin, so it kind of works for the fact that he is kind of a shit-eating goblin, but I don't get why they gave him the lore they did. Like, they gave him this really tragic backstory that, oh no, all of my friends are dead, I'm gonna float through the sea endlessly because I'm so depressed. And then he just turns around and like, oh, actually, now I'm just a piece of shit who ruins everyone's lives. Like, even Nautilus hates him. Like, what do you have to do to piss off Nautilus personally? That guy's like a god of the sea. He's just a confusing mess, I think, is the way I could see it. Like, really just remove the Yordle, remove the tragic backstory, and he's not terrible. I don't think there's any champion in League quite like Fizz. Like, looking at his model, well, that was a well-timed zoom in. Looking at his model, he doesn't really look like anything else in League. He's some weird amphibious fish freak, and I think the only one that comes even close to that, I guess, is Nami, because she's half mermaid, or Tahm Kench is a big fish creature. Tahm Kench feels like he had a bit more thought put into him. Like, his design tells a story. Fizz's design doesn't really say anything. He just looks like, oh, this is a species of fish creature. Like, I could easily see Fizz as some random NPC character. He doesn't really feel like he has any kind of importance to him. You know what I think would be better for Fizz, actually? They just removed the whole tragic backstory. It's completely unnecessary. I think it would have been funnier if he made up his own tragic backstory. Like, he's such a piece of shit. He's trying to, you know, toy with people's empathy and think, oh, listen, I know that I just threw all your clothes into the ocean and they're at the bottom of the sea and you'll never retrieve them again. But, you know, my parents never loved me, or my best friend betrayed me, or my brother stole all my money, or like, he keeps coming up with completely backwards, random backstories to try and gain empathy from people because he is a piece of shit and knows how to play to people's empathy. But also, like, even in game, like, I don't know why I decided to type. I mean, back in the day, I did used to be a Fizz main. I went through that arc, and I was the worst kind of Fizz main, the one that would just master emote and BM after every kill. I was terrible. I was toxic. I don't want to think about those days. But his gameplay does reflect the kind of character he is. He's supposed to be annoying. That is his... If you're to pick a defining feature about Fizz, is that he is annoying in every way. He kind of looks annoying. He certainly acts annoying. They even ump that up a lot more in Legends of Runeterra. Like I said, even Nautilus hates the guy. But in League, that is his core fantasy, is Pole Vaulter. What's this thing called? I don't even remember. Okay, I just looked it up. Playful Trickster. That was the one. I don't know why I blanked on that. I mean, the other day on stream, I blanked on what the name of his shark is, Longtooth, which I don't get why he has a companion shark. Like, I guess, did he meet the shark in Bilgewater or something? It's never explained. Again, this is one of the things, or one of the ways that retcons can be a bad thing. There's so many loose ends for Fizz and things that don't make any sense because they turn him into a Yordle and tried to give him a tragic backstory. Not every character needs a tragic backstory, Riot. I think Fizz would be perfectly content with just being just an awful person. He's not supposed to be likable. He's supposed to be this unlikable fish thing that just ruins the lives of everybody. I don't know. I feel like trying to make people like him as if he's some kind of sympathetic character is just really weird. I think he'd be more enjoyable if they made him more of a piece of shit. Not personally, I was like, he's not evil per se, but he really just likes playing pranks on people, but goes a bit too far. Playful Trickster, I think, describes that perfectly. Is one of the most frustrating abilities in the entire game. Like, what other character in League, besides Master Yi, I guess, of course, but they can go invulnerable with a move that does damage every, like, 5 seconds, not to mention what Fizz by Zonya's. Now he's pretty much invincible. And I think I've said this a few times, that, like, League is pretty good at capturing thematic fantasies, you know? Like, Warwick really makes you feel like you're playing, really makes you feel like Spider-Man, really makes you feel like you're playing this blood-hungry werewolf, or Aurelion Sol now really makes you feel like you're playing a space dragon, or even some minor characters, like, I don't know, the Cho'Gath. As stupid and dumb as he is, you feel like you're playing as some Godzilla creature. Fizz is kind of the same. Like, while you're playing him, you feel like a piece of shit. You know that you are making the enemy team suffer because your character is incredibly frustrating to face. So is that a good thing? I don't know. Again, it's a very well executed thematic fantasy. I mean, Fizz, this absolute garbage thing, plays like an absolute garbage thing that everyone hates, so I guess it's successful in that regard, but he's still really obnoxious. Like, look at this. I'm sure Ezreal's having so much fun. Look at the fun he's having. On the topic of skins, Fizz has quite a few. Ignore me dying to Kane. Fizz has quite a few skins. He's an old champion, so he's got a lot of crusty skins, but they're usually pretty good. I think that some of the oldest skins he has is Fisherman Fizz and Void Fizz, which, if you fellas don't know, Void Fizz was one of the few skins, like, I think it was Beekeeper Singed, and there were some others. But back in the day, Riot used to take inspiration from fans to make skins, or Dunkmaster Darius or Little Devil Teemo were based on memes by the community. With Void Fizz, it was a literal fan skin developed back when fan skins were more widespread. And Riot took that idea of making Void Fizz and made it an actual skin, and that's how we have it today. I kind of wish Riot did more stuff like that. I think Riot doesn't get involved with the community as much as they used to, and that's not just me saying that because I don't have LPP after I've been making League content for like 3 years and they still haven't opened up the applications again. But I really miss those days. Some of you League Zoomers will be completely unaware of Creator Spotlight or Summoner Showcase. That was the name, where they'd get a bunch of people on and they show all kinds of creations like fan skins and fan videos and fan art and cosplay, and just really make the League community feel, you know, like that. Like it's a community that all work together. Ignore this part. I miss those days. I mean, Fizz was released a long time ago, so he was around during that time, but I don't know. This was very unfortunate as well. I need to get Mastery 7 on Briar now. That was one of the goals of the subathon, so I gotta do that. This was actually really relaxing. I think I have said everything I want to say about Fizz. I mean, maybe his best skin, it's probably Fisherman still. That one's probably still my favorite. I love that it's Earth. It's pretty good. Oh, look at that. Surrendered. This was great. I actually kind of liked recording after the game instead of recording during it, so let me know if you fellas like this kind of casual review. If not, I'll just do it like it always does, alright? I'll see you next week for Big Man Galio, alright? That's gonna be fun. Alright.